What's going on, guys? Marcus from Wall Street Assassins back at it again with another video. Today we're going to try something new. This is basically a trade recap from my trade yesterday, October 1st, starting the month on a green note with my SPY put. It's very important for you guys to review your trades, especially if you're a beginner trader. Even if you're an experienced trader, it's always best to review your trades. This way you can learn from yourself, see where you could have done better, see where you went wrong. And this way you could basically keep track of yourself and try to just be better every trade. So going into this trade, let's look at the 20-day 1 hour chart, which is the chart we're looking at right now. So you guys could follow along with me. This is the date, this is the time. Going into this trade, we could basically see the day before, right? So the day before, we basically had that massive drop in the overall market, right? We went from like 437, hit a low of 420, 425 over here. There was some type of strength pre-market, right? We've seen that basically the stock has pushed up. I was saying to myself, hey, if this stock basically breaks 431, I could possibly look for a long position, right? So these are 1 hour candles. So pre-market is basically before the market opens at 9:30. This is like 7 o'clock in the morning, right? So we could see that 8 o'clock, we've still seen some bearish activity, start to pull back a little bit, reject that 431, which is a sign of weakness in my opinion. And then we basically at 9 o'clock when the market was about to open, I've seen some action basically towards the downside. So I'm saying, hey, we're struggling to get above that 431 because the market has basically been bearish before. I could possibly look for some possible downside. So jumping over towards the 1 minute chart, so you guys could see what I was looking at real time. So I entered this position around 9:35. Typically, I don't like to enter too early. The market just rang, like the market just opened. And then now I typically want things to settle out, but I was seeing, hey, there was pretty much weakness pre-market. We could see that 8 o'clock, this 431 area has been basically rejected before. We pull back up. This looked like a double top pattern to me. So it was very interesting to possibly enter for a short position, and I didn't want to let this position pass me by. So around 9:35 a.m. around here, I entered my short position over here and I started to hold. It bounced on me a little bit, but the downside, the stock was still looking weak. So I continued to held. It bounced up over here, monster green candle. I was actually thinking about selling over here, but we kind of put a resistance at 430. I entered at 935. 935 is over here at like 430 over here, 430.60. This is 430.20. So I was still a little green. And then I was like, hey, we haven't really had any breakout. And I know overall on the larger chart, the stock was looking weak. If we went back towards the 20-day, those 20-day candles were still looking a little weak. We started going sideways, which is basically when I see a stock go sideways, in my opinion, I think that is a sign of weakness because there's a struggle going on between buyers and sellers, right? And then I was pretty good on my position. We started to pull back in, and then we basically had this monster red candle going down around 10:15, pull back down even more, and then we started to find some type of support at 427 over here, 427. On the stock price, you can see that we kind of found some type of support, went sideways. Typically after a drop and we see some type of sideways action, that is a sign of support. Typically the stock wants to bounce. So I was pretty happy with my profits. I pretty much entered from if we look at the chart over here, I entered from up here and then around over here. I was basically taking my first profits. I sold half my position. My initial plan with this trade was that I wanted the stock market to basically sink, right? Being a bear, sink all the way down towards 425. Why did I think 425? This was basically that these two red candles was my trade, right? So I originally wanted, right? This is that 427 that we're looking at on the 1 minute. I wanted this to break and then I wanted us to sink down towards 425, but there was some type of support going on over here at 427. So I was keeping that in mind in case we tried to bounce off this level. But I was thinking, hey, maybe we break 427 over here, sink down towards 425 and go lower. But we definitely did not get that, right? So if we look over here, I took my first profit at 10:26 because we started to go sideways. I was in at 9:35, so I'm like, hey, I'm good with some of my profits here. Let me take half off the table, keep the other half just in case we roll over and go down towards that 425. We started to bounce over here, started to go a little sideways. I seen this green candle. I'm like, you know what? Let me just sell my whole position. So I definitely got out of my whole position over here once we started to show some type of strength. It did pull back down, retest that 427 later on, and then monster bounce after that, crazy. If we jump over to this chart, it made my move, the move after my move, it made my move look completely small, right? We see that basically this is the power of the stock market. Soon as I basically got out, market pulled back in a little bit, found some type of support. This is a double bottom pattern. A double bottom pattern is a bullish pattern, just like that same double top pattern that I seen over here, which was a bearish pattern, right? So we had a double bottom over here, bullish pattern, market started to rally. It literally ran from 427, made a high of 436. Crazy move on that part, but I was perfectly happy with the position that I took. I locked in a little bit over, I believe 58% profit, which I like to do one and done anyways. I don't like to overtrade, especially on a Friday. Fridays are typically slow, but we've been in a crazy market lately where we've been getting massive volatility in the market with all the different type of news going on. But it's best to basically try to keep it very simple, focus on high quality setups, take your profit and keep it moving. So hopefully today's video helped you guys out. If you learned something, so definitely leave a comment below on what video you'd like to see next for me. I'll definitely try to work on that next for you, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.